The censorship, the disinformation, it all continues. And we are going to look at some of the latest things from RFK Jr. here. RFK Jr. posted this or tweeted this about 21 hours ago. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. The Thacker PD lays bare in inner workings of the censorship industrial complex. This is from Paul Thacker here. Twitter files. Number one, Twitter files. Who are they? Who are the people claiming RFK Jr. is disinformation? Let's look at what I found inside Twitter's internal documents. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a look. Let's see. Okay, number two here. First thing I found was Twitter officials discussing action they were taking on Robert Kennedy Jr. because of a report put out by the Center for Countering Digital Hate. Wow, digital hate now. CCDH's report was called the Disinformation Dozen. But was the report credible? Let me see if I can maximize this. There we go. That's much better. But was the report credible? Let's see. Was it credible? The report upon which the faulty narrative is based analyzed only a narrow set of 483 pieces of context over 6 weeks from only 30 groups, some of which were as small as 2,500 users. They are in no way representative of the hundreds of millions of posts that people have shared about COVID-19 vaccines in the past months on Facebook. Further, there is no explanation for how the organization behind the report identified the content they describe as anti-vax, or how they chose the 30 groups they included in their analysis. There is no justification for their claim that their data constitute a, quote, representative sample of the content shared across our apps. Wow. So I say that was number 3. Facebook said CCHD hate report lacked credibility and posted a statement dismissing it. Isn't that something? All right, here's the fourth part. But the report took off like a rocket, getting attention from the White House and Congress. Who is this group CCHD, by the way? Sorry, CCDH. Who is the group CCDH, by the way? This is what Paul Thacker asks. These are all here's part number 5. It's run by a British political operative named Imran Ahmed, who wrote New Serfdom, a book critical of free market ideology. Question number 1. How did being a Labour Party political operative prepare Ahmed to rebrand himself as an expert in vaccines and disinformation? It's the Fabian picture of the Fabian Society and all our interests. We must rehabilitate the idea of the state if we are to ensure a fair and sustainable future. Right, Angela Eager and Imran Ahmed. Okay, so question number 2. Who runs Imran Ahmed and CCDH hate? Is it governments? Is it pharma interests? I ask. Imran Ahmed won't respond. Ahmed won't respond. 7. Okay, here we go. Here's the 7th part. There's a lot of parts here. Twitter officials discussed taking action based on the CCDH report. COVID-19 misinformation team is planning on taking action on a handful of accounts surfaced by the CCDH report. And there's a screenshot there. Part 8. Note that Imran Ahmed released his report to coincide with Biden's vaccine rollout and congressional hearings with Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey. Isn't that interesting? I'm just looking at the screenshot from Brian Clark to COVID-19 misinfo inform at twitter.com. Wow. And at Get Support Twitter. Action has been taken on the aforementioned tweets. Oh, they took action. There you go. This is from Brian Clark in the screenshot, March 31st, 2022. Hi, all. COVID-19 misinformation enforcement team is planning on taking action on a handful of accounts surfaced by the CCDH report. The disinformation dozen. Why platforms must act on 12 leading online anti-vaxxers. Interesting. This report was released prior to hearing on Disinformation Nation, social media's role in promoting extremism and misinformation. The SI Misinfo team has carried out a deep dive assessment of those accounts. While none of the 12 accounts are eligible for permanent suspension under COVID 19 misinformation policy, we did find several violations of the COVID 19 misinformation policy across multiple accounts. Separately, we intend to permanently suspend one of the accounts on the list, at Cancer Truth News, for multi-account abuse. At Get, if there are no objections after 30 minutes, can you please take action on the following tweets based on the table below? I mean, this is just crazy. These people are nuts. So back to number 8 from Paul Thacker for his tweets from yesterday, July 18, 2023. Note that Imran Ahmed released his report to coincide with Biden's vaccine rollout in congressional hearings with Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey. Question: who is Ahmed working with? And here we have, okay, so that's another photo. 9, based on the discredited report, Twitter labeled the following tweets. When Elon Musk took over Twitter, these labels were removed. Interesting. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. right up there at the top. So I can make this a little bit bigger or not. Not sure. It's okay. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at the top. Merkala. Look at the the violations there. Wow. Pretty interesting. The busy Dr. D, unhealthy truth. I wonder if any of these other people will be at the hearing tomorrow. I guess we'll see. Okay, here's part 9. Twitter placed a vaccine safety label on this tweet where Kennedy sent a letter to Biden. What is wrong with sending the president a letter? And this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Read plus RT. My letter to President Biden explaining how transparency, robust science, and a functional surveillance system are the only way to build public trust for COVID vaccines. Wow. Interesting. What date was that? That was March 17, 2021. I have to go back and read that. I did not read that. This is from, he posts this here, children'shealthdefense.org. RFK Jr. to President Biden. Number one driver of vaccine hesitancy is mistrust of RE. So something. Very good stuff. All right. I like it. I love when they have the dates there too. We'll definitely go and check that out. It's good stuff. Okay, here's number 10. Ahmed CCDH ran a bumbling campaign the year prior. CCDH targeted 10 websites for allegedly posting racist narratives. One of the groups they targeted was Zero Hedge. You should know them by now. Part 11. Fact checkers with NBC News Verify unit fell for CCDH's report. Google has banned 2 far-right websites from its advertising platform after research revealed the tech giant was profiting from articles pushing unsubstantiated claims about the Black Lives Matter protests. Wow. Look at that, regarding the George Floyd death. So Zero Hedge and the Federalists were both put on this list. And we all kind of, I'm sure, maybe not all of us, but I would hope a lot of people knew that fact checking was all just a bunch of nonsense. And here's more proof of that. It's censorship. It's all it really is. These are some great tweets by Paul D. Thacker, just put out yesterday. Here's point number 12. But Ahmed's report wasn't true. Ahmed took passage from the comment section and claimed they were articles. NBC then stealth edited their story. This is NBC's Verify fact check unit, mind you. Crazy. 13. Another incident involves disinformation researcher Filippo Minsker at the University of Indiana. Back in 2014, a member of the Federal Communications Commission wrote a Washington Post essay calling his federally funded research Orwellian. Look at this. Named Truthy after a term coined by TV host Stephen Colbert, the project claims to use a sophisticated combination of text and data mining, social network analysis, and complex network models to distinguish between memes that arise in an organic manner and those that are manipulated into being. But there's much more to the story, focusing in particular on political speech. Truthy keeps track of which Twitter accounts are using hashtags such as Tea Party and Dems. It estimates users' partisanship. It invites feedback on whether specific Twitter users, such as the Drudge Report, are truthy or spamming, and it evaluates whether accounts are expressing positive or negative sentiment towards other users or memes. The Truthy team says this research could be used to mitigate the diffusion of false and misleading ideas, detect hate speech and subversive propaganda, and assist in the preservation of open debate. That's a They're going to assist in the preservation of open debate by mitigating the diffusion of false and misleading ideas, what they deem to be false and misleading ideas, and what they deem to be hate speech, and what they deem to be subversive propaganda. But somehow that is going to help to preserve an open debate. Give me a break. 14. Minster's University shot back that his research had nothing to do with, quote, attempting to track political misinformation in a way that would somehow limit free speech. Statement about the Truthy Project from Indiana University, dated October 23rd, 2014. In recent months, an award-winning National Science Foundation funded research project led by 4 faculty members at the University of Indiana School of Informatics and Computing has come under criticism for allegedly attempting to track political misinformation in a way that would somehow limit free speech. These claims could not be further from the truth. So that's what they said back in October of 2014. 15. Minsker later told Columbia Journalist Review that criticism of him had nothing to do with the reality of his research. It merely confirmed the problem of misinformation. Most disinformation researchers claim any criticism is disinformation. The headlines are saying something that is completely false and fabricated, Mincer said. We are not defining hate speech. We are not tracking people. We don't have a database. 16, part 16 from Paul Thacker. Fast forward several years, and what is Minsker doing? Surprise! Defining types of speech of misinformation, tracking people's social media, and creating an online database. Look at that. Busted. Completely busted. Phil Minsker. Combating fake news, the science of misinformation. That's a good one there. Let's see. 17. In December of 2021, Minsker emailed a misinformation group. Our COVAX dashboard, quoted in the article, ranks CHD as the top source of COVID vaccine information, Minsker wrote. The abbreviation CHD stands for Children's Health Defense, the group Kennedy runs. This is their number one. This is who they're going after as a top source of COVID vaccine disinformation. The CHD, Children's Health Defense, a group that Robert F. Kennedy runs. Interesting there. Isn't that something? Isn't it romantic? 18. Oh, that's a lot of good stuff for 18. Minsker also falsely claims that Kennedy has misrepresented his research. Kennedy hadn't. Question. Why do misinformation experts put out misinformation so often? Question number 2. Who is paying for all this research? Number 19, Minsker's email ended up at a Twitter ended up at Twitter after he posted it to the Google group Combating Fake News, a Science of Misinformation. This group apparently claims that research to censor some news as fake actually strengthens the First Amendment. You gotta be kidding me. People are weird, strange. Number 20. When explaining his research, Minsker sometimes makes it appear abstract and nebulous. When he won a recent $1.2 million Department of Defense grant to study misinformation, his university put out a statement. What does this mean? First, they hope to develop a cognitive network model that describes the consistencies and inconsistencies of a belief system while also establishing the simulation mechanisms that determine how a given idea is best accepted and incorporated by an agent to fit into pre-existing beliefs. Ugh. It just sounds like they don't like freedom of speech. This is all censorship. I don't know how you can look at it any other way but to see what they're doing is censorship with RFK at the very head of it. So there's only one or two more here. Point 21. At other times, Minsker is more direct in highlighting that his research can help government officials regulate speech, something he denied back in 2014. He wrote this essay recently after criticizing Elon Musk. I think this is what his research is really about. There it is. Using science to guide social media regulation. It's written in January 9th, 2023 by Filippo Minsker. That was a lot. And he says, point 22 or part 22, read more here at Disinfocron. Disinformationchronicle.substack.com. Very good stuff, man. I like it. Very good. And please subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. So that is a very well written, articulated thing. Elon Musk then asks, who is funding this organization? They spread disinformation and push censorship while claiming the opposite. Truly evil. Absolutely. Absolutely. Isn't that something? Very good. Okay, so that is one thing, one article, one post that I wanted to make sure to cover. There is obviously more, and we're going to find a lot more of this stuff. But this is good. The censorship is coming out, how they were censoring, what they were censoring. It's all coming out, just as we all knew that it would. Nothing escapes the light. So now I'm going to look at, this is an interesting one. It's from New York Times, though. I don't know. Let me see if I can open this or not. Oh, no. Okay. Seeing how later can read this. Okay, I better. Okay, no, it's just another hit piece, pretty much. But this article here, RFK writes about this one here, and he says, fact check or propaganda. The New York Times embarrasses itself. So then it leads to a article, and I will see if that works. jfkfacts.substack.com. Faulty fact checking on JFK and RFK Jr. A flawed New York Times report on the candidate's comments about his uncle's murder. This is written by Jeffrey Morley on July 14, 2023. So that's good stuff. You know there's going to be some good stuff in there about, oh, Kennedy said this, what happened, blah, blah, blah. Feel free to read that. I won't read that here. Got only a very limited amount of time, and I really need to get to some of this stuff. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next thing. Just post this. Okay. All right. So am I on? Am I on? Am I live? Yeah. There was two other things I really wanted to get to. Oh, this article, and I just started reading this. This is awesome. Here's what RFK said about 18 hours ago. The most shocking thing about these new revelations from M to B is that it's not even shocking. Email and Slack screenshots prove top scientists colluded to cover up lab origins of COVID and lied to the public. Then you open up the article, and it will take you to something that looks kind of like this. So freaking likely. This is posted from Racket News, Racket.news. So freaking likely. New COVID documents reveal unparalleled media deception. Newly released chats and emails between the authors of a crucial scientific paper leave no doubt an unprecedented official disinformation campaign accompanied the arrival of COVID 19 by Matt Tabai, and a few other people. Leighton Woodhouse, Alex Gutentag, and Michael Schellenberger. I can't pronounce any other names. So this is from July 18th, which would be yesterday. On February 5th, 2020, as a small group of scientists were crafting a Nature magazine paper that would become the basis of years of reports insisting COVID 19 had natural origins, one of the co authors, Tulaney's Dr. Robert Gary, wrote in a group email: accidental release is a scenario many will not be comfortable with, but cannot be dismissed out of hand. Accidental release of COVID 19, right? Anything's possible, I suppose. As detailed in an explosive public story today, Gary's thinking changed suddenly when then New York Times reporter Donald McNeil asked the next day, is there any possibility that it could be from the Wuhan lab? And here's that screenshot from Donald McNeil. He says, and if it was, would there be any way to tell? Sorry, can I make this bigger? Oh, look at that. Too big. Oh, that's gonna hurt my eye. And if it was, would there be any way to tell? I mean, I assume the lab has a large library of coronaviruses, some of which came from animal samples. If a lab tech got infected with one, I imagine it wouldn't be very different from one that a wet market worker picked up from the same animal. Is there anything in the sequence posted so far that suggests the virus has been manipulated by human hands in any way? Sequences from another virus inserted, deletions that may seem unlikely to occur in nature, anything like that. Sorry if these questions seem naive, but I have editors with bits between their teeth for a bioweapons escape story, and I'm wondering. Thanks, Donald McNeil. Andrew Rambot says, I am thinking of just replying and saying that, quote, I see nothing in the genome that would make me believe it has been genetically manipulated in a lab. Seems reasonable. I don't want to say I won't say anything. And then Robert Gary, NYT, Sirius McNeil, very credible by like every reporter, but like every reporter can be misled. But by like every reporter can be misled. Okay, whatever. So that's from that screenshot there. Article continues. Let me see if I can make this article a little bit bigger easier on the eyes. Gary warned McNeil was, quote, credible, but like any reporter can be misled, cheering colleague Dr. Andrew Rambart's scientific version of a non-denial denial as a good honest response. Interesting. Last week, House members investigated origins of COVID-19 accidentally released a trove of Slack chats and emails between the authors of Nature's seminal paper from March 17, 2020, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2. The Proximal Origin paper delivered a single line that for years helped authorities slam a lid on theories of human intervention in COVID-19. Quote, it is improbable that SARS-CoV-2 emerged through laboratory manipulation. However, the chat showing Proximal Origins authors saying things like, quote, the truth will never come out if lab escape is the truth, end quote, were published first by independent researcher Francisco del Assis of the independent investigatory group Jurassic, after which the story was picked up by Ryan Grimm of The Intercept. From there, health officials did their best to ignore the material. Quote, many of them remain silent with this revelation, end quote, is how DSS put it, almost as if they were waiting for another shoe to drop. That other shoe is dropping. Public and Racket last week obtained a full complement of the Proximal Origins communications examined by the House Select Committee on the coronavirus pandemic, revealing a story far worse than previously believed. While today's public story details the unprecedented scientific cover-up, the letters and chats examined here at Racket show how health officials and scientists constructed perhaps the most impactful media deception of modern times, exceeding even the WMD fiasco, both in scale and brazen intentionally. Wow. So they're saying this is even worse than the weapons of mass destruction fiasco. That is pretty interesting. Great article here. Let's continue. Because in-house investigators uncovered such a wealth of material, some of the proximal origin communication, which shed light on other COVID-related controversies, will be addressed in a second part of this series later this week. Awesome. Looking forward to that. For now, however, the degree to which these communications blow up years of news stories stands out. Very, very great article. And those are all of the people who wrote that. Very good stuff. And I need to pronounce this guy's name, Matt Taibbi, because RFK posts a lot of stuff about him, so I probably should learn to pronounce his name correctly. But another great investigative reporter, journalist, author, all good stuff. Very, very good. It's just the more that comes out, the more that we see what is really going on here. So, and the truth always comes out. It always does. They can try to mask it, try to hide it for a short time, can't hide it forever. Here's another clear example of that. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Those are really the two main things that I wanted to make sure that I covered here. There are a few other articles, but we got to show Trump some love here too and see if he's got anything going on. So let me share this and we'll go here and see what Trump is up to on Truth Social. Hope you are subscribed there. He does a lot of retweeting. Biden slammed during the hearing for threatening national security. Yeah, so there is a great hearing going on right now, right there. Comer says FBI had unclassified record detailing Joe Biden's involvement in extortion and bribery scheme. That's the Representative James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, which I was just watching that earlier, and we'll be replaying that definitely. See, 1 hour ago, Iowans turn out in droves for Trump. Here's another great one. Byron, good old Byron. He's always good. We'll take a listen to this one because Byron is the man. Gotta give him some love right there. Boom. Let's see what Byron has to say here.
I think Donald Trump's going to win in 2024. Here's why. Very, very simple. Americans, independent voters, are looking at this election and they're saying to themselves, I have the 45th president. I have the 46th president. Who did the job better? This is literally the Pepsi challenge. Who did it better? It's without question that Donald Trump did a significantly better job as president because Joe Biden.
What do we think? There we go.
Well, hold on. Because Joe Biden is the worst president in American history. So just by default, he did a better job. But all joking aside, Donald Trump has been one of the very best presidents in the history of our country. The world was much safer with Donald Trump as president of the United States. I think he's going to win that in 24. Now, how do we do it? Got to see the people. got to be in those counties that matter in these presidential elections. Some states really, really matter. Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I saw a poll in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump was beating Joe Biden by 1 in Pennsylvania. Saw that the other day.
Yeah.
I think this is a mission that we can accomplish. We're going to go get that job done.
There's a series of them from interactive polling, I think, that had Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, some of these swing states you're talking about.
Right.
Trump was beating Biden. It's early, but he's winning.
Listen, Americans don't want a crazy border policy. What Joe Biden has done to our southern border, in my view, is treacherous to this country. It is ridiculous what he's done. Inflation has hurt every family in our country. You have fentanyl killing more than 80,000 Americans a year, and Joe Biden doesn't do anything about it. And then you look abroad. He allowed 13 men and women to lose their lives in Afghanistan because he was a dummy. And now we're in Ukraine because he didn't do his job early of stopping Vladimir Putin from invading.
Wow, good stuff. Very good stuff there. Let me just pause this. Stop sharing that one. So let's go. Sorry, I know it seems like everything is kind of kind of tweaking out there a little bit. Well, that's all right. We'll just keep rolling on with it. Yeah, it looks like the internet connection is a little unstable. So I moved it closer. So I don't know if that's doing me any favors, but seems to be okay. All right, so maybe I won't play any more clips there, but I will be replaying some of the latest things from Trump. That one is gonna. I need to schedule that. That one should come out here very soon. Of Trump's town hall speech. If you missed it from last night, I missed it. They call it a town hall speech. We'll see if it really was. The last time President Trump was on Fox News doing a quote unquote town hall speech with Sean Hannity from Fox News, there was like one question. It was more just a interview that Sean Hannity was interviewing President Trump. Nothing wrong with that either, but let's call it what it is. And that's what it really was. Just an interview. And another good one, I am sure. Actually, I may actually find one of those and play that clip because I do want to see what is going on with this stream and why is it jumping around on me. Kind of sound like Jerry Seinfeld a little bit there. What is up with this stream? Well, he's got some good ones. What is this one? You want to hear about how he fired Comey? They haven't gotten to the bottom of the Hunter laptop. That one's a good one. Before we get to that, I do want to hear from Tulsi Gabbard because we're going to jump back a little bit to RFK. So let me just kind of pause that one. And I'll let the commercial play. Always let those commercials skip there. Okay.
Democrats who hope to levitate Biden into another 4 years of office, they are melting down over something called competition. You know, that goofy group, No Labels, is teasing a possible presidential run by two mega rich guys. Senator Joe Manchin, he's a moderate, and former ambassador to China, John Huntsman. Now, because they call themselves moderate, they must be good.
I will ask the obvious question, is this the presidential ticket?
What we're here is basically to explain to you that we need options.
The senator said that he's considering a presidential run. Are you considering a presidential run? No.
That wasn't loud and clear for Joe, but everybody wants to know what Joe's doing. Right? It's the horse race.
Oh my God, it's so boring. Now, a confident campaign, I think, would see this No Labels nonsense for what it is. It's a performative exercise designed, I think, to probably revive Manchin's sagging re-election prospects, maybe help him after he loses his Senate seat. But Biden's blustery boosters are having hot flashes of anxiety.
It's maddening. It would most likely hurt President Joe Biden.
That will be his legacy for the rest of his life. Joe Manchin helped elect a fascist.
To me, the only lane they're operating in right now is the ego lane.
And others are worried that Cornel West might peel away a few percentage points here or there. I love this Hill piece, Suspicions Grow, about RFK. Look at suspicions. Yeah, suspicions that Biden's just flagging. And we've seen what they've done to RFK Jr., of course, who's running as a Democrat and polling at 20%. I was thinking about this tonight. I am not sure what would be uglier to watch, Musk versus Zuck in a cage match or RFK versus Biden on a debate stage. It's a toss-up. Joining us now, Tulsi Gabbard, former Democratic candidate for president and Fox News contributor. Great to see you in studio, Tulsi.
Great to see you. I would like to go to both of those.
Oh,
events,
wouldn't you?
By the way,
I don't know. Zuckerberg's looking pretty buff, but Musk's got him on the pin.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this? Why are they freaking out about this? Is this a real threat to a, I guess, weak president?
Well, I think they definitely do see it as a real threat, which is why you're seeing all of these headlines pop up. They're showing exactly how concerned they are. The sad part is anybody who knows Cornell or Bobby Kennedy Jr. knows they're good people and they're doing what they're doing because they care. I don't agree with everything that they stand for, but they're motivated by a desire to serve.
But you would think that they're just the worst people ever. By the way, you hear the whisper.
Exactly.
Forget the whisper campaigns. There, it's all just a ego exercise. Well, maybe it is a little bit for the no labels people, but certainly not for RFK Jr. That man is vilified morning, noon, and night. And I don't agree with him on a lot of issues, but I do on some of his stuff that he's worried about the medical cartels and all that, and perhaps on the war issue. Yeah. But I mean,
they're vilifying him in the same way that they vilified me back in 2020 when I ran for president, in the same way that they vilify anyone that they deem a threat. I have no doubt that they'll get started on Cornell West here shortly.
They don't like his, ascots or something.
That's the problem is they'll find whatever they need to. They'll make up whatever they need to smear and destroy people because they don't have a conscience. They don't care who gets hurt.
They don't have a record. They have a terrible record.
They have a terrible record. Exactly. They can't make that case to the American people.
And the hologram presidency doesn't help either if he's a hologram candidate. Now, I want to play a moment from Cornell West to your point last night. I think it speaks to why the left is freaking out about him. Let's watch.
The people of Ukraine right now who are suffering, and I'm in deep solidarity with their suffering, they are being caught between this proxy war between the American empire and the Russian Federation. Federation.
I just spoke to the foreign minister of Ukraine.
I don't
saying
know
that
if I can take any
they
of that
are just
Cornell West. That guy is
victims
just
in this proxy war.
phony
He would
baloney.
say,
phony as a $3 bill. Shut that down. I think that's enough. I think you get the point there. But I do want to play at least a little bit of some of Trump's town hall meeting. We should talk about him firing
huge logs in seconds with little effort.
James Comey.
Chainsaw blade
Probably
sharpener
good.
set turns dull chainsaw blades into sharp ones. Saw blade sharpener with tight.
But one thing we did.
So let me share this. This is good. It's always good. It's good. Nice. Yeah. Good to go. Let's play this.
But one thing we did that was so great, I fired Comey very early. And a lot of people said, oh, you should have done it. Well, they're given a term. They're given a term very early. Not immediately early, but very early in a few months. And I got rid of this guy. And by doing that, it was like you threw a rock at a hornet's nest. The whole thing collapsed. You saw the love letters back and forth with the different people talking about the insurance policy. With the insurance policy, that was against me.
That was headed.
If she, for some reason, loses, darling, we have an insurance policy. The insurance policy is they'll get me out. One way or the other, they'll get me out. Because you know what? This is 30, 35 years of being put into government. And you get there. And initially, I didn't know people in Washington. I was there 17 times in my entire life. I never stayed over before this. All of a sudden, I'm president of the United States. I relate, and we had tremendous people also. Don't forget, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, rebuilt our military, took out ISIS, took out Soleimani, took out al-Baghdadi, the two biggest terrorists in the world. I mean, what we did was incredible. Strongest border we've ever had. Everything was good. No inflation. Best economy in history. We did all of this stuff. We had tremendous people. Look, they made a lot of money. Yeah. No. So we had tremendous people. But we also had some. You rely on others. You rely on people that you knew. You rely on other politicians to give you answers. And you find out that they are rhinos or they gave you bad advice. So we had some that weren't good. But when you think, Comey had a term. He had many years left in that term. I said, this guy's bad news. I realized it very early in the administration. I fired him. And it was wild. That's when we found out all of the corruption. Had I not fired Comey, you wouldn't know any of the things that you were talking about.
You think they
right
would have
now.
destroyed you?
Well, they were trying to take me out. Yeah, they were trying to take me out. I mean, it was like a coup. It was like a coup. Had I not, it's very interesting. Some people that are very smart, that you know very well, said when I did it, oh, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. You're going to cause. Now they say it was the greatest instinctual move they've ever seen, because Comey was a very bad guy. And Comey led that group of thugs in there. And they were doing a number. It's very dishonest. It's years and years of putting in people, Democrats and rhinos and other people, but putting them into office. And we got rid of a lot of them, but we're going to get rid of a lot more, because you have some bad people.
One more question on this. In the past, I think it's been a mistake. I'm like you. I think we should have paper ballots, same-day voting, make Election Day a national holiday, and have partisan observers in every precinct watching the voting and then watching the vote counting. And when the polls close, declare a winner, game over.
Right.
But that's not the system we have. Republicans have been reluctant and resistant towards early voting, mail-in voting, and they've also been resistant towards legal ballot harvesting, which Democrats have mastered, which is why they can hide in their basement, run hundreds of millions of dollars in ads, and never answer a press question or shake a hand or kiss a baby or do a town hall. My question is, do you now encourage and embrace early and voting by mail, and legal ballot harvesting?
I do, but I also have to say something else, because the one thing a lot of people,
But this is important,
including
you
you,
do.
don't talk about, they also create phony ballots. And that's a real problem. That's my opinion.
But
they create a lot of phony ballots.
Has your mind shifted? In other words, I think if Republicans start out Election Day down 200, 300, 500,000 votes, that becomes nearly impossible to catch up with.
For some reason, Republicans always wanted to go out on Tuesday and they wanted to vote. And I respect that. I think it's great. And it would be great if we could get back to one day and all the things that you said with one thing else.
I agree with you.
With voter ID, because the Democrats don't want
signature
voter
verification.
How about this? They don't want voter ID because they want to cheat. They want to cheat. They don't want voter ID. Even the Democrats, regular Democrat people want voter ID, but the leaders don't because they can't cheat. The one thing we have to be very careful of is phony ballots. Everything you say is great, but they create ballots. That's my opinion. And that's the opinion of a lot of people.
Will you encourage your voters, based on the system we have, to go along with the system of early voting and voting by mail? Because
I will.
I think if you don't, it's a big mistake.
No. I will, but those ballots get lost also, Sean. They send them in and all of a sudden they're gone. Those ballots get lost also. The answer is I will, because you would like it. But you know what? Can I be honest?
For me, okay.
But
I got to take a break.
But Sean, a lot of bad things happen to those ballots also. They're sent in early and all of a sudden, where are they? Look, we have very corrupt elections. We have no borders. If you don't have borders and if you don't have good elections, you don't have a country. And that's where we are. But I'm okay with it.
By the end of this year, we'll probably have, under Joe Biden, nearly 8 million illegal immigrants since he's been president. Quick break. More of our exclusive town hall with President Donald J. Trump straight ahead. We're going to take questions from the audience. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to...
Good stuff there. Turn this fan off. And I think that's a good place to kind of end it. Always happy to hear Trump speak. Always good stuff. He is the man, and I'm really looking forward to 2024. Tomorrow is going to be a big day, so we'll definitely do another show. I may come back tonight and do another show, just a quick show, but tomorrow is a very big day. RFK Jr. will be testifying before Congress. There's going to be, and it's going to be about censorship. It's going to be about the misinformation, all the stuff that we just kind of looked at here today. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so I will be streaming that live, most likely on this channel here. Be streaming that live for anyone who wants to watch it. And I think that is about it for now. But God bless you all. Thank you for joining me on my lunch hour. And until next time, may Jesus Christ be with you. Make sure that you remember this is all temporary here. And for now, I am signing off.